Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com coming to you after the close on February 24th, 2014. It's almost, well, it's a little after 4:15. And just want to remind you before we take a look that the website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I control lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research. And please, make only those investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So let's take a look. Okay, these lines have not been altered at all, but I want to show you a couple of really interesting things. First off, we came into today after our weekly review video over the weekend, discussing the possibility that that we may be seeing another one of those mutant versions of an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And what I mean by that is, well, you should know if you've been listening to the videos, but that's where you get a decent-sized left shoulder, a decent-sized head, and then just what I'm calling sort of tongue-in-cheek. And I don't want to offend anybody here in case somebody in your family has a birth defect, but really it's like a little flipper. It's like it's not a full appendage, it's malformed. So I've been calling these things jokingly, but for lack of better terms, inverted shoulder, head, and flipper patterns. And lo and behold, today, though not by a large margin, we traded above and closed a hair above our neckline for this inverted shoulder, head, and flipper pattern. Let's at least pay our flipper its dues, I guess, by giving it its own oval. Now, as you look at the chart, you can see there are a couple of things of interest. This gray line right here is the previous all-time high that was set back in January for the S&P. And we closed underneath that, which by itself isn't really, I don't think, that big of a deal. But before I get a good sense for this pattern producing a sizable result, which it has the potential to do, I really want to see a close now above today's high. So I want to see a close 1860 plus. And then I will really feel like this pattern has the potential to do what we're expecting it to do. By the way, I've got some moving averages on here. Ignore those. That I have them very lightly colored. What happens is when I'm following other stocks or other indexes, the moving averages carry forth from one to the other. So this has nothing to do with this chart. That's why I've made them very light. So if we look at things in a little bit more detail, here looking at the 5-minute chart, we can see that a couple things of interest happen. Here's our little bull flag, and what happened was after we broke out of that flag, we came right down on Friday, very near the close, and closed right at that breakout point. Then started to power up early on today, but again, oh, by the way, you see that's our all-time high. This isn't really that significant, but you can see that's where that first thrust upwards, where it put on the brakes, hit that all-time high. Then we got backed up a little bit, took that out, back tested it, but from about, what time would that have been? Probably 11:12, around noon to the end of the day, it was really pretty weak. So let's see if we're just getting a little back test here, and if we come back and maybe bounce on our neckline tomorrow and then start a renewed move up. Right now I think it's a little bit early to get too excited about this, and the good thing is that the pattern we are looking at, thankfully, and we haven't had one like this in a while, this pattern has enough of a target to where we can actually wait till this is a confirmed breakout. And again, I would say that would come at the point at which we have a close over 1860. I mean, that's kind of a round figure, but I think that should do the trick. And like I said, the good news is once you get that sense of confirmation about where this pattern is going, it's deep enough to where it's got enough to get there. As a matter of fact, this pattern is, I'm going to, hold on, I have to do this a little bit of a roundabout way. 1740, this pattern is about 108 points tall. So that means we're looking at a move of approximately 6% once we get as measured from this neckline. So if we take the neckline at 1847 and add on 6%, what does that give us? Hold on, I'll do the math and I'll be right back with you. Well, it gives you a target of 1957, which by the way was a very good year. And that was the year I was born. So anyway, guys, I think this is a good sign where we are right now. Another thing you could look at here, if you wanted to examine that 5-minute chart, again, you might look at this as being a cup and handle if you want to, because we really don't have a left shoulder over here. So this little pattern by itself seems to be pointing us in the direction of somewhere in the mid 1860s. So despite that late day weakness, let's see if we reach a point where we find some good solid support tomorrow. I think it would have to be tomorrow, and where we go with this. But for right now, it's looking suspiciously like an inverted shoulder, head, and flipper pattern once again. And by the way, don't Google that. You're not going to find it. If you want to learn about this kind of pattern, you're gonna have to Google inverted head and shoulders pattern. But just for you guys, I'm calling this an inverted shoulder, head, and flipper pattern. So hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time out of your day. Let's see if we get a little bit more upside tomorrow once we find out once we find where support is in this late day, well actually I shouldn't say late day, but in this second half of the day sell-off. Thanks for watching. Take care.